In the evolving world of executive leadership, the role of a CEO is no longer confined to traditional boundaries. With AI, remote teams, and constant market shifts, leaders are rethinking how they make decisions, stay agile, and inspire organizations. In this session, CEO 3.0, how the role of leadership is being hacked and reinvented. Our panelists will share perspectives on redefining leadership for the modern era. They will discuss strategies for integrating technology and enhancing emotional intelligence and navigating disruption with clarity and confidence. Please welcome our moderator, Quincy Hodge, President of Quincy M Hodge Consulting, and our expert panelists, Shaden Atallah, Executive Coaching and Consulting, Corporate Communications, JJ Velasquez, CEO and founder of Monumental Media, Dragana Linfield, Senior Director of Technology Consulting at Ernst Young, and Suzanne Castle, CEO of Suzanne Castle Consulting. Let's give them a warm round of applause.
Thank you all for being here. We are excited. I am excited to be up here with such an accomplished group of professional leaders here.
We feel the same, Quincy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And listen, this idea of the CEO position, or CEO 3.0 being hacked, is certainly a question that's been on a lot of people's minds. We've done a lot of thinking about it. And quite honestly, we're just going to sit here and have a discussion about it amongst us professionals and kind of feed off of that. But at the same time, what we want you to do is be thinking about what questions and ways that you're thinking about this topic. And then we're going to open it up to questions in the last 10 to 15 minutes, okay? So we want to hear from you and be able to respond to what your thoughts are so that we can respond appropriately, okay? So why don't we get started? I've got my first question here. Actually, the first question I have for all of us, and it's kind of like, what does it really mean for the CEO position to be hacked? Are we really talking about the position, the title, or the way the CEO operates? Anybody want to take that?
I'll jump right in, Quincy, if you don't mind. So I think when we use the word hack, we're thinking about software. We're thinking about, even a cyber attack hack, right? But I want you to think a little bit more about your brain. So I think the evolving CEO is spending a lot of time with what I call neurological identity, understanding what is actually going on in your brain when you make high-stakes decision-making. How are you hacking that to your best ability? Are you using your brain to serve you at the best possible way that it can? And when you can understand your brain ecology, I think your leadership changes immensely. And then we just heard about AI, and in the age of AI, understanding the human brain is becoming more and more important for leadership.
That is really on topic, because I think the way we think as leaders has the biggest impact on how we're actually going to lead people and bring them along with us. What do you think, Shaden?
Yeah, actually, sorry.
You go ahead.
I love it that you are starting with the brain, because I always say, the brain is a muscle. And just like if you want your biceps, to grow, you need to go to the gym. Mm-hmm. It's not enough to look at a photo of Schwarzenegger and say, no, I want those biceps. And I don't know how many repetitions I need to do. You need to go. You need to go to the gym. And it's the same with the brain. The brain is a muscle. So you need to have that mental gym working. You have to do the workout. You have to do the inner work, the mental work. And that's why I think this is a very important part of this new way of looking at leadership, because it's a mental, from the inside out work. And you have to just keep doing it. I mean, I'm a coach. 90% of my work is one-on-one coaching, because leaders realize that it's not just a one thing, a book you read or a workshop you go to, and then you know how it works. You need to do the work.
There is a lot of work that's required of a CEO to do a lot of preparation, planning, thinking, communicating. And it goes throughout their processes when they're with their people and when they're not. And the discipline of that is very important. And so preparation is a big one. I talked about this a little bit on the first day when I was talking about, how to manage their workload and their thinking and how they respond to people. Dragana, do you have some thoughts?
Yes, for me, I think in this new era, the whole leadership operating model has changed. So before, they relied on control and the power to exercise their power, so everybody had to do what I say or to please them, but that would take company nowhere. So now I think it's more about reading the room and orchestrating intelligence. So nobody has to be any more the smartest person in the room, but they have to ask questions, and it's absolutely fine to ask questions and have this collective intelligence from the room, and still make decisions, because you're the one who will have consequences.
They really do have to monitor what's going on inside their organization and outside constantly, right?
Yes.
And they have to take all those inputs in and create this context. What's the context I'm working in with my people, and then also in the environment I'm in, and what's the best way to lead people through that? Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just like LLMs, we're talking about AI here.
Oh, yes.
They will drift if you don't adjust them. Likewise, the leader will have to reevaluate and do a lot of self-assessment and read the room and read in between the lines and not always have one solution, equal one for everybody. I mean, if I want to engage everybody, not everybody will be engaged using the same strategy. And so we have to, as leaders, adapt to each person so that we can get the most out of them and allow them where they operate the most.
That's really good.
And I love how you're articulating, though, also the need for boundaries, because when you understand the people in front of you and you're looking at them and you're like, okay, I'm a major extrovert, obviously, right? And I'm talking to an introvert, so I can decide how much of my extroversion do they need, or is that creating a barrier for them? So understanding the people that you're with, how they respond, what kind of candy bar do they like when they're hangry? I mean, these little things that you can do as a high-level leader make such a big difference in an organization, and the time that it takes to do that is not monumental, but I think it's crucial. Absolutely.
And I really need to say that we always talk about how leaders lead their people, and we forget that leaders are people. So the thing is, and that's why I really believe in self-knowledge, and leaders are starting to understand how important self-knowledge is, and self-reflection, how levels of awareness shape the way they engage with their employees, with their customers and stakeholders, how they make decisions, how they make choices, how they set boundaries, and how they set priorities. All of that is something that comes from within. So they also need to know how they function, what are their values, where they come from. And this is, again, I really believe in this, from the inside out. That is sustainable quality leadership, in my opinion.
I really agree, because, leaders have to start with their own beliefs. We act on what we believe on.
Yeah.
And we're going to project that out there to our people. And they're either going to follow or not, based on that integrity and whether or not they read the right or wrong thing. If they see incongruency in us, they're not going to have that trust. So we have to be solid in that as leaders, don't we?
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the next question here? How is AI changing the way CEOs make decisions, use judgment, and lead their organizations? Big question.
That's Dragana's.
Yes.
I was going to say, you're the expert here.
It's very interesting because many people think now I have AI, I don't have to talk to anybody, but it's exactly the opposite. The AI is actually never going to tell you anything. It's just going to mirror you. And is always going to try to please you. And that's not what I want. I want to be challenged all the time. But of course, there are techniques to do that. So I think that there will always be space for people, because models are good at certain things and they can't do people things. So let's just acknowledge where the models are good. They are good to process a lot of information. They are good to recognize patterns. They are fast. They can make fast decisions. But the leader has to understand whether he needs to make a fast decision or maybe it's time for reflection. And not every decision, and they need to understand the trade-offs. Because after all, they're going to be making decisions and they need to understand the long-term consequences. And just like models, they need to have this feedback loop because no model, no AI solution gets it right the first time. It collects the data and it adjusts.
Yeah.
And therefore, the leader has to do the same. They have to read the room, they have to read in between the lines and keep adjusting so they can be better over time.
Yeah.
I like what you say about reading all the time. And when I'm a pilot, so when I was flying, we were constantly scanning. And one of the terms we used to use was you need to stay ahead of the aircraft. A CEO needs to stay ahead of their organization, and they need to do exactly that. Read the room and be scanning for any information that would give them an indication, don't you think, about, okay, well, I sense that there's some fear here, or I sense that people aren't really sure what we're trying to do, and they need to handle that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I think too, in this AI kind of world that we are finding ourselves in, and you can be mad about it and you can moan and groan about it, but it's here. So let's just get real about it. Let's traffic in reality, okay? And part of that is setting up AI as, I think, a high functioning leader to serve you instead of the other way around. So I love what you're saying. So for me, I have routines set up in an AI that I use, and it's constantly asking me in the morning, mid-afternoon, in the evening. I have my 90-day plan, my yearly plan. It's all loaded in, and it's asking me questions constantly. Or it's noticing things that I didn't notice, pattern recognition. Oh, you said you were going to do this, Suzanne. Guess what? You didn't do this today. So now what are you going to do about that? And if we can do the same thing with our people and show them, okay, it's okay, even I get off track every day. Let's get you a tool to get you back on track. And that is reading that room, and that is understanding your people. That people intelligence, I think, is just going to rise to a greater level than it ever has before.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. Other thoughts?
Yeah, I
Yes.
just would like to add, actually, that AI as such is actually nothing new. We've always had this kind of technology. Now it is just everywhere on the streets, for the public to be using it. But so it's really not about fearing a certain technology. But this is actually a chance for leaders, again, to think about their identity as human beings. It is their chance because there is now this tool that can take off work from their employees so that their employees and the leaders themselves can have more time for that human connection, for all the communication, which in the past maybe needed more people, like in factories or in this kind of environment. So I really believe that AI can be the chance, again, to connect more on a human level with your employees as a leader.
Yes.
And with your customers.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
You just like inspired me to actually share one of my biggest mistakes in the past before I kind of evolved into a better leader was I thought I'm going to make an analogy with large language models and AI. So we all think if we give all the data that we have to AI, it's going to create the best decision. And that's how I thought that.
Yes.
And it can be rubbish data, it can be non-relevant data,
Yes.
it's just confusion. So the same with people. In the
Yes.
past, I thought, I really like you, I'm going to give you all information I have, so you can then take that information and deliver something. And then I realized it's just going to confuse you because you need relevant data.
Exactly.
Model needs relevant data and you need real-time data.
Right.
Because something will change from yesterday. So I, as a leader, need to decide what I'm going to tell you intentionally because I want to know what you have to do, like a goal-oriented, and therefore I'm going to selectively tell you, but I will be genuine. So that's very important because we need to build trust here.
Yeah.
I love that trust factor. I think that's absolutely key here. What do you think about that?
I think that's very important. In fact, it probably gets back to the point that all of y'all are really leaning towards is that the leader has to set the tone on how we're going to use AI, right? And we all know AI even tells us it makes mistakes. And the leader needs to be able to set the tone on how the company, the group, the organization should be using it, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think they could do that the best? By showing them how they do it, or should they set a policy, or what do you think?
I know with my clients, one of the things that we've been talking about, I want to come at this kind of a different way. So everybody that's watching right now, if you looked at your phone right now, the only time I'm going to ask you to look at your phone and not at our faces right now is right now. And you counted all of the notifications on your phone, from your email to the text apps to anything that needs an update. And you think about that. Let's say it's 50,000. Okay, let's hope it's not, but let's say it is. 6,432. Let's go with that number. Would you allow 600 people, 6,000 people, 50,000 people to come knocking on your door of your office unannounced? But this is what's happening in your brain. This is what's happening with AI, with the speed of technology. And so to talk about that, you need policies about that. Like if you have unopened loops, your brain is keeping those open because it doesn't know the difference between a text notification and a bear. Your brain looks at it as a threat. It's the same. And so I think for all of us, I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think all of us with our clients, one of the things that we're doing in students and where we teach and where we speak is we're saying the boundaries, the guardrails that you're setting up as a leader are more crucial than ever. Mm-hmm. And the more transparent you can be about, here is, I have 87,000 unopened emails. So I'm going to be open about that. And what do I need to do about that? What is your best hack? What is your best hack? Because you never know when someone's going to give you that one bit of knowledge they need to make a difference in your life for your business. Notice what I said there, your life before your business.
Well, if our lives aren't operating on a good keel, then our business is going to suffer for that too, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Any other thoughts on this?
Yes, yes. So I'm just gonna totally agree with you, and I think that the CEO or the leader has to think in different layers, and it's like a multifactorial problem because CEOs don't have only one stakeholder. CEOs have millions of stakeholders, and they need to think about all of these policies that will have to be in place so that the brand doesn't lose reputation. The customers don't lose trust in the company and switch to competitors. So he has to preempt the pre-mortem. He has to do the pre-mortem as well as post-mortem.
Oh, I love
that. So it has to play what could have happened if this is not put in place. And here we are talking, if his stakeholder is a business person, he has to put the policies through AI or other, like a center of excellence that are about the business. Then the technical policies as well, like how does that data comes, how it is cleaned, how does it flow, is it real time, etc. That will be technical. Then the people, the employees, he needs to spend equal time in not only the change, but how employees perceive change.
Exactly.
And he needs to be there.
Yes.
And he also needs to offer the latest tools, whatever is needed, so the customers don't use shadow AI.
Yes.
So he has to be ahead of a game in every aspect. And that's why he's paid to be a CEO, because it is not easy.
That's his responsibility, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, my experience is also exactly that with the CEOs, is that they need to see who is following and who is reluctant to go that path, from if I'm talking about their leadership teams, because not every member of the team will want to follow immediately. I mean, I know that this is a big issue. For example, you have new technologies, you have new processes. A lot of people are unhappy with it's not working. I don't want to, I have to learn something new. I work in Fortune 500 companies where people are or have been more than 30 years in the company, and suddenly they are supposed to learn a new tool or to go through new processes, or salespeople who are 50-something who are supposed to sell such kind of new AI technologies to their customers, and they are sometimes reluctant about that. And some are younger and very enthusiastic about that. So you have that mix, and as you say, the CEO needs to have that umbrella view, if that is the right way to say it. But it's really just to be able to consider timing, or to consider who needs more support in what, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I do too. I tell you, I ran an organization with over 300 people in it, and we had people scattered over 55,000 square miles in 50 recruiting stations. And I was going through 4 layers of communication when I was going through my management group and giving the goals and how we were going to accomplish this. I needed to go out there and get around the actual people doing it. So I traveled around once a quarter to each of these stations, and I was asking the recruiter in charge and the individual recruiters. Okay, so what are you hearing from up above? You know, that was my way of testing to see if the message was getting down clearly. Sometimes it did, and sometimes it didn't, and I had to correct that. But that gave me that layer, as you say, of understanding, okay, I've got some areas I need to make some adjustments here on my communication and also with the people between me and the folks actually getting the work done. So I can really relate to that.
And I just wanted to add something that every CEO needs to understand that the company's biggest asset are people.
Yes.
It's not technology, because people make technology, and it's replaceable. But people always are asking, what is in there for me? So I think the leaders have to preempt that question. Yeah. Instead of saying, what is in there for me, I'm going to look after you and explain to you what is in there for you. And they have to be excited about the thing, because they can't say, I really think this AI is a great thing, okay.
Yes.
Be excited about that.
Yeah.
They have to actually breathe it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's really good. Well, I think this is a good segue into our next question. What does strong leadership look like today when teams are distributed, attention is fragmented, and trust has to travel further? That's a big one.
That's a loaded question.
You know, I think while y'all think about that, I know y'all have great answers, but I am just thinking that strong leadership really is like, there's a burden of responsibility if you've got a distributed team to go the extra mile. What does it take to actually get and reach the furthest people who are farthest away from you and make sure they are on page with everybody at headquarters?
Yes.
And it does take effort and time.
Yes.
We used to have a term in the Navy called management by walking around. Actually, that was Draper, I think. That was an old management thing. It still works today, even in the age of AI. I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, so I think that now that the leader does not need to lead by presence, although I love presence.
Yeah.
Nothing replaces that. So they have to be more intentional, and they have to also understand that in order to succeed, the team to succeed, they need to create engagement. If one employee is not engaged, it's not only like one employee not engaged doesn't matter. No, that piece of the puzzle is going to be very, very relevant. And maybe you can continue.
No, that's great. That's great.
Hey, that was a great recovery.
It's a delegation.
It's a delegation. That's right.
We got you.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
All right. Well, actually, I was just going to say that sometimes they just need also practical solutions in the sense of, I mean, this is also, when I talk to my clients, is simply what is your time? What can you offer? And you have to make the space for your employees. It's not like, okay, no, I'm busy, I don't have enough time. As you were saying, you have to reach out and create, meetings once a week. You have to events once a month, and it does happen. You have to maybe even with kind of workshop every quarter. And that works very, very nicely because, like you said, of course, you cannot always be present, but such kind of meetings bring people together, and that is an essential practical solution for this kind of issue.
I also think, though, that there is, I agree so much with all this because I think community is going to be central to how good companies retain their culture right now, and bad companies don't. They don't care about community building anymore.
Yes.
But I also think there's something about empowering the employees.
Yes.
And so when someone's coming to me, I mean, even my 20-year-old daughter, okay, and I say, what have you already tried before you got to me?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know that you thought about something, that you tried something, and then I'm in the trenches with you. I will help, I will give you resources, I want to know what you did, but I also want to know that I wasn't the easiest solution for you, that I was one of many that you tried, and then you got to me. Because one, that they're showing initiative, which I always want to reward, but also with the way things are going education-wise, I think it's really important to continue to develop critical thinking skills and problem-solving in people. And if you want to have good teams and you want to have depth of teams, enabling managers, people when they're coming online and you're onboarding to say, this is the most important question before you get anywhere, is what have you already tried? I think is going to be crucial.
Yes.
That's very beautiful because sometimes when I go to my boss, he says, don't come to me with problems, come with solutions.
Yeah.
So I also expect from my people
great.
to do the same
Yeah.
because I'm helping them exercise critical thinking.
Yeah.
And then I think also what is important is that they see me as unblocking their issues as well at the end when they can't really do that very well. So I have to be seen as helping them achieve their success.
Yes.
And they come to me for the feedback. So what I ask them,
Yes.
do you want me to give you a feedback as your position in the current role, or you want me to give you feedback as if you were already promoted? So are you want a senior manager feedback or you want a director and they want the director, and then they can see that they have done nothing that's expected from director, and that's how they get interested.
Yes, I totally relate to that. Shaden, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, actually, I wanted to say also the thing is that leaders don't need to know everything. Exactly. And this is so important. I remember one of my clients once was preparing, we were talking about this review meeting he was going to go to. And he was like, look at this, what they, my people send me from these KPIs and so on. Yeah, of course, why I need to prepare for that. But, I don't need to know the details of where, how this KPI was born. I just need to know from them what they did and, present the results. And he was very self-confident. I was even a little bit surprised at how confident. I mean, it was eye-opening. He was like, I don't need to know all the technical details. I don't know. You need to know all the sales details, how we got to this result. My job is to understand the result, and their job is to explain to me how they got there. And I think this is also very empowering. Also, it's a matter of trust. When you deal with your employees in this way, you're telling them, you do your job, I do mine. I support you, of course, but that's, again, a totally different position.
I made a mistake on my own skin.
Yeah.
I did it not because of the lack of trust, but because I really love the details and I love the technical area.
Yeah.
And so I want to support my knowledge, and so I was spending a lot of time. And then I asked ChatGPT. I said, can you please, the company one, it's actually Copilot.
Yeah.
I said to Copilot, I said like a couple of months ago, literally 9 months ago, I said, can you tell me where I'm making this mistake? What am I doing wrong? And he told me exactly my issue. He told me, you are spending too much time focusing on the meetings that are not relevant for your domain.
Exactly.
You
Said everyone in the room.
never
Never.
And they were 6 a.m. meetings with a team in India, because I just wanted to understand how, and then they were so painful because it's like you have to drag the information, and there was no any productivity there from my side. And then I stopped going there, and my life improved.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I know. Isn't it so true though that the 80-20 rule still works for us? It's how I really only get 80% of the results out of the 20%. So what is the 20% I really need to be focused on?
But these are the boundaries, Quincy, if I
They
may say.
are.
I mean, when we talk about setting boundaries, these are also boundaries.
Absolutely.
What do I need to know and what I don't,
Mm-hmm. I love that answer, though, that Copilot gave you. That was really great. So I want to ask this question before we open it up to general questions. In an era of reinvention, how does the leader personally need to change?
So I'd love to start.
Yes, please.
And I think I'll go back to what I started with, which is how to boss your brain, I think is going to be the most important aspect. So one of the frameworks I teach in my trademark method is that you really need to understand first what you are thinking, and you have to have time. Your brain needs a break. A break doesn't mean while you're walking and taking a meeting. A break means nothing is happening, because your brain needs a pause just like you need a pause to reset. And when you understand what that thought produces inside of you as a feeling, those two things connected will result in your action. And because that result is always an action. So at any time, you can interrupt that. If you don't like what you're thinking and what you're feeling, then start with your thought. What should I think instead so that I feel differently about my role or my people or what's happening so that I get a different result? And anyone can do this anywhere. And I think if we just literally took the time to do that without any computer technology. Put your bare feet on the grass. I'm probably where the woo-woo meets the work on the stage, and I get that. But to really take some time to sit in nature or to get outside of terrible UV lighting and just be for a minute, your brain would respond in a way that is so magnificent, but you haven't given it the opportunity to serve you.
Yeah.
And as a leader, it is your responsibility to make sure that your brain is serving you and that you're not in a reactive posture all of the time.
Yes.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was a great answer. Look,
Actually, just like at the beginning. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's you.
Just like at the beginning, because you were talking about the brain, because what I really believe in is that the monologue, and I like to say it this way, the monologue precedes the dialogue. Oh. How you talk to yourself and how you encounter yourself is how you encounter the outside world, how you encounter your environment. And one without the other will not be quality leadership. And so, yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I think you did a great build up to what I wanted to say, because I totally agree. My answer is it has to be, in order to reinvent yourself, and you have to reinvent yourself all the time, constantly, exactly. You need to have all of those requirements that are not happening, you have to make them happen.
Yes.
Because if you don't do that, nothing is going to be, your brain is going to be completely overstimulated. Right. So at those moments, I think it's important for people to know that whatever made them successful to come where they are is not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
And they can become the victim of their own success.
Yeah.
So what they need to do is they need to go maybe even 180 degrees.
Yes.
They just need to understand that the new era has come, and they need to maybe use more EQ. Maybe IQ is not enough.
Yes.
Maybe reading the room is not. They have to differentiate themselves.
Yes.
They have to be that like a 3 percentiles of the population that want to be followed.
You know, I came out of the entertainment world. I used to be a ballerina and an actress. And I tell people all the time, surprise, I tell people all the time, you know, on my talk show too, I say constantly, it's you need to audition constantly for the life that you want.
Yes.
And if you are unhappy, if your job's not going well, if you're not in the leadership position you want, then, you know, out of the entertainment industry, go audition. Go try on a different costume. Do something different for a day and see what that sparks inside of you. You'd be amazed at that practice. And if you study some of the most important CEOs on the planet, they minimize the decision making. Like Steve Jobs used to wear the same outfit every day so that he didn't waste brain power on trying to decide what to wear.
Yes.
So, but what they did is they constantly find ways to audition for the next thing.
I can't minimize that.
Right? I love my clothes. It's okay. It's
well,
okay.
there are a few exceptions, right? You know,
I accept the trade-off.
That's great.
you'll trade off something else. Yeah. You know, you're all making me think about a principle called self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And you know, sometimes we have blind spots.
Right.
And what I'm going to put in a guilty plug here for everybody. You know, everybody needs a coach. Because you need somebody to help you see what those blind spots are.
Yes,
don't
definitely.
you?
Definitely.
And we experience it every time we talk to somebody in a
Yes.
leadership position.
Yes,
And it's like, okay, well, all of these things that you all are talking about are things that CEOs need to be thinking about.
That's true.
And they need to bring their best game to the table
Yes.
because their entire organizations are going to depend on that.
True, yeah.
And being ahead of the game,
Exactly.
ahead of their organization, is going to require all these things y'all just
Exactly.
discussed. So,
Actually, I would like
right on.
It's also this. The first thing I always tell any new client is that I also have my own coach.
Yes.
I mean, it's important. It's not something. It's not just a service. It's just a way of life.
Yeah, I can't coach if I don't have a coach. That doesn't work in the world. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I just wanted also to add that life is evolution. What you were saying, you cannot always keep doing the same thing, but you cannot just say, I don't want to move to the next step. I don't want the progress. It's just not possible because we do it subconsciously anyway. I mean, who is in the same position or thinks it the same way as 20 years ago? We are either conscious and aware about our lives and what we do and what we think and what we decide, or we just go with the flow, subconsciously not realizing what's happening to us, and life is happening to us instead of we leading our life. Because leadership is really leading your own life before you lead others.
The leader has to lead themselves first.
Exactly.
I like that because
Exactly.
it's been a rule of mine
Yes.
that if I'm going to lead others, I need to know how to lead myself.
Yes.
And hopefully
Exactly.
somewhere along the way I learned how to be a follower before I did that. So are we ready for some questions from the group?
Absolutely.
So
Bring it.
please, y'all come up to a microphone and please feel free to ask us a question of any kind that you have. What's at the top of your mind? Anything we talked about, maybe something that we didn't talk about. Here we go. I think we're going to have our first one. One of our loyal question askers from the conference here.
How about humility, vulnerability, and understanding that leaders are only made by the people below them?
That's a great question. Anybody want to take a stab at that one? You know, I'll start off with the humility piece. You know, I've been humbled by circumstances where I didn't lead very well in the past, and I had to learn some hard lessons and be honest with myself and get some help in order to get past that. And then I needed to find a way to make it right. And that's very humbling to go to an employee, a worker, somebody that you did disregard, and I did. And I've made a lot of mistakes as a leader in the past 40 years. What has helped me the most is understanding when I did make a mistake. It's like, I am not beyond mistakes, I'm a human being, and then go admit it, bring healing to that process, and then let's try to move forward. I don't know, what are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I'm very open to being vulnerable, but only for one-to-one conversations. I'm not at that stage to be publicly sharing them, but there is no way that if somebody comes to me and has confidence in me and shares something, that I will omit sharing something personal to help that person, even professionally or personally. So there is no way I would ever do that. It's like not in my, situation.
I wanted to mention the word ego, because in leadership, in my coaching practice, there's a lot of talk about ego, and as the proximity of humility and being able to make mistakes, and not just to being able to make them, but being able to talk about them. That again, you don't need to know everything. So humility, and these are the values we are talking about. To have integrity, to be able to say no, even to maybe customers or stakeholders, and when the culture or the value is not fitting with your own. These are things where the ego needs to be, I don't want to say tamed, we have, in a sense, it's an important topic. We have good egos and not so helpful egos. And this is, I think it's a very connected issue here.
There's a balance.
Yeah, how to balance that and when to know what is important, what is not, for you to be in the foreground or not.
When I'm keynoting and in front of groups, and especially doing leadership training, one of the things that I say often, doesn't matter the size of the room, is I'm wrong about something every day. Like literally, I am wrong about something every day. So I just want to even out the space for all of us to be able to say, I could be wrong about this.
Yes.
And I think if you are open and honest enough to say, well, this might be the thing I'm wrong about today, and if it's not today, I'm going to be wrong about something tomorrow. It literally, like, we're all laughing, but it just changes the dynamic enough to where people are like, okay,
It really
she's not all that all the time. I mean, I want to be, like, let's be honest, there is ego there too. But
We all
I,
have a little bit of
course,
ego we have to
we
keep in
need
check,
that.
right?
we do. But I think just being open to say that, then it allows someone to come to me and say, you know what, the thing I was wrong about was this, and I made a big mistake. And I'm like, great, let's go fix that together. Let's start, because I come out of the Disney world. And so I say, Disney used to pay us 95% of the time to fail. And because the technology might not have been there, or the park structure wasn't there yet, or whatever. So, I was only paid 5% for my ideas. that I thought were going to work, but they were like, no, 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 we want all of the things that don't work yet. And so I'm telling people that all the time, like, it's okay if you were wrong. Maybe that's going to work tomorrow. I don't know. Let's just keep an open dialogue. I hope we gave you some.
Hopefully we answered your
feedback.
question.
Okay.
That's great. Good.
I know we just have a few more minutes.
Yeah, we do. We have time for one more question probably.
Yeah, good morning. We talk a lot about AI transforming how we think and how we decide. If one day AI becomes the brain of the organization, how can CEO ensure that they remain the heart of the organization, especially as they lead and inspire new generation of Gen Z talents that expects purpose, authenticity, and real human connection?
Wow, that's good. So I think what I heard is in the age of AI, how does the CEO be the heart of the organization as AI becomes the brain of the organization? I'd like to say real quickly that I don't think AI is ever going to become the brains of the organization. I think of AI as a tool. And we always need to remember that. AI makes mistakes. It's a tool. I'm a Star Trek guy. You know, Trekkie, they're always talking to the computer, getting information. Computer, tell me this. Computer, simulate this, that, and the other. And then it's like they all sit down and have a brain discussion amongst themselves and make a decision on what's best. I don't ever see AI replacing human heart and mind. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
And it cannot, because AI is just, it will create something based on the information that you trained it. And it will look like to you that it has feelings, sentiment, but it's just predicting the next word based on the previous sequence. So when you know that information, and when you know that AI is probabilistic and not deterministic, they will never become the brain. And there are still something that they cannot touch, which is the ethics, which is prioritization, which is the engagement, which is the heart. So I think we still have space here.
And I love that you talked about Gen Z specifically. So I just want to thank you for bringing up, the workers that are coming up right now who, have been with technology almost since the womb. It is native to them. And I think the more that we can talk about what can't this do, and even more important than that, what don't we want AI to do as a leader in our organization, as a team member? Like, is it a companion? Is it a tool? But what element of our business, of our work, do we not want AI in? I don't hear a lot of people asking that question right now.
I agree.
But I hear Gen Z asking that question right now. And so I think we would do really well as leaders to really think about that question deeply and make sure that we are asking a different generation what they want AI to be able to do.
I think that's excellent. We need to set the expectation.
Especially for creativity.
Absolutely.
A couple of months ago, my daughter created a poem for my husband about her dad, and I posted it on LinkedIn. And then I literally got the answer saying AI could never do that. Because that poem was magnificent.
Exactly, yes.
You can't replace the human emotion and creativity
Yes.
that's in AI.
Yes.
Just don't think you can. Any other thoughts?
Well, maybe I can just add that language is very, very important. So how leaders speak to their younger employees, for example, in organizations, the language they use. Just talking about keep doing this, I'm sorry. But just talking about the heart, for example. When you talk to your employees about courage, courage comes from the heart. It is cœur in French, from Latin. It's basically when somebody is bold enough to work, do, say things, be vulnerable from the heart. And this kind of language, to how do you communicate? Not just what you communicate, how you communicate it, especially with a generation that knows, from day one they are with technology, with phones, and AI is just part of their lives. I think how we speak to them as human beings, really, what does the time ask of us as human beings, how we communicate.
We have an opportunity here to really connect with Gen Z, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, probably better than ever because they're seeing what they've been thinking about since they were born
Yes.
come to fruition, and it's like, well, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
And we need to answer the
Yes.
questions, and we need to engage with them to see, well, what do you want AI to do?
Yes.
And get that feedback,
Yes.
you know? Well, I don't know. I think we're out of time. We are, okay.
We
well,
are.
well, listen, this has been a wonderful opportunity to hear some glowing thoughts and ideas about how to handle CEO 3.0. And I hope you, as our audience, were able to take away some nuggets from that today. And we were enriched by it as well and by your questions. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all
Thank
so
you,
much.
Quincy.
You
Thank
did a
you.
great
Thank
job.
you.
Y'all all. Oh, yes, I think we could. Listen, can we get a picture?